From the studios of Books in Motion, this is Damon Abdallah reading Devil Strike, Book 8 in the Blade series by David Robbins. Now, let's begin with the prologue. What were all those vultures doing there? Horace Greeley applied the brakes and gazed out the windshield, his brown eyes riveted on the dozen or so vultures circling high in the air less than a quarter of a mile away. His estimation, the vultures were soaring above Yacumba. He thought of the town's population, 63 men, women, and children, and dread seized him. The presence of vultures could only mean one thing. Alarmed, Horace floored the accelerator, and the old green Jeep jumped forward, its engine coughing. Black puffs of smoke trailed from the tailpipe. He glanced at the loaded Taurus Model 83 on the seat beside him and wished he had a more powerful handgun than a .38 Special. If worse came to worst, he'd need all the firepower he could muster. The Jeep rounded a curve, and there lay the quaint, tranquil community, sweltering in the intense July heat. Not a soul was in sight. Horace kept the Jeep under 10 miles an hour as he approached the outskirts of the town. Even on such a hot day, he reasoned, there should be folks strolling about and kids at play. He wondered if he should make a U-turn and head for help, but decided he needed concrete proof before he could alert the authorities. Vultures were an ominous omen, to be sure, but a slim possibility existed that there might be a perfectly logical explanation for the presence of the carrion eaters. Several of the big ugly birds sank lower and lower and disappeared below the rooftops. Horace slowed when he came within 100 yards of the westernmost structures, his anxiety mounting. He might be biting off more than he could chew, he told himself. After all, he made his living as a carpenter, not a policeman or a soldier. He'd served a 2-year stint in the Free State of California Army, but his enlistment had occurred 29 years ago, when he was 18. More of the vultures were sinking to the ground, apparently in the center of Yacumba. His palms sweating, his mouth dry, Horace stopped 40 yards outside of the town and surveyed the buildings. Most were in need of a paint job. Roofs sagged, windows were missing, and walls were cracked. The dilapidated state of the town typified the conditions found in practically every community located in extreme Southern California 106 years after World War III. Paint, nails, lumber, and especially glass were all hard to come by. The people had to make do as best they could. A huge white dog, 4 feet high at the shoulders, materialized between 2 houses and stared at the Jeep. Horace leaned out the window and waved at the dog. "Hi there, fella," he called out. The white dog stood motionless, regarding him coldly. "Where's your master?" Horace asked. With a curt bark, the dog wheeled and ran off. "Wait!" Horace urged, but the canine ignored him and bounded around the corner of a green house. Horace drove slowly forward, scanning the road and the sidewalks ahead. At the very edge of Yacumba, he slammed on the brake pedal. Son of a bitch! Sprawled across the sidewalk on the north side of the highway, 30 feet off, partially hidden by a metal trash can on the curb, lay a body, a woman in blue pants and a green blouse. Horace licked his lips and felt his pulse quicken. Any lingering doubt that a calamity had befallen the town were gone. He could haul butt to the authorities now. He could turn around and retrace his route, head east until he reached Ocotillo, where the army maintained a garrison. He could, but he didn't. He wanted to know the answer. Overcome with curiosity, Horace continued into the town. He stopped alongside the trash can and leaned to the right to stare at the woman. She was prone, her arms outflung and her forehead rested in a pool of her own blood. Her black hair sagged over her cheeks, screening her features from view. He debated whether to climb out of the Jeep and check the corpse, to see if the body was still warm or whether the woman had been dead for hours. Prudence prompted him to stay in the vehicle. He might be curious, but he wasn't stupid. Horace squared his shoulders and drove further into Yacumba. He saw more bodies the further he went. Men, women, even children dotted lawns, driveways, sidewalks, streets, and alleys. Victims were lying in stores and other buildings, visible in the doorways or on the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?